There are cases where evidence is missing, cases where records are incomplete, cases where history leaves gaps. This is not one of those cases. The Voynich Manuscript is a complete physical object. It has been dated, preserved, catalogued, and studied for more than a century. And yet, despite exhaustive analysis, no shared understanding of its meaning has ever emerged. Not because no one has tried, but because interpretation itself appears to fail. Welcome to the evidence gap. The Voynich Manuscript is a medieval parchment book, carbon dated to the early 15th century. It consists of hundreds of pages written in an unknown script, accompanied by illustrations that suggest structure and intent. The text is consistent in style. The handwriting is uniform. The layout is deliberate. This is not random scribbling. Whatever it is, it was produced carefully by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The manuscript appears to be organized into sections. Some pages contain botanical illustrations, plants that resemble nothing clearly identifiable today. Others include circular diagrams that suggest astronomy or astrology. There's sections that show human figures, flowing liquids, and what appear to be pharmaceutical or medicinal components. The content is systematic. It looks like a reference work, not a journal, not a poem, not a puzzle. And that makes its resistance to interpretation all the more striking. The Voynich Manuscript has a real, traceable provenance. It passed through documented hands over centuries. It was not discovered suddenly or anonymously. Even since the early 20th century, it's been studied continuously. Currently, it's housed today at Yale University's Beinecke Library. This matters because whatever the manuscript is, it's not a modern fabrication inserted into history without context. At the heart of the problem is the text itself. The script doesn't correspond to any known language. And yet, statistical analysis shows that it behaves like language. Word frequencies are consistent, patterns repeat, structures emerge. It's neither random nor easily decoded. This places it in an uncomfortable space. It's too ordered to dismiss, but it's also too opaque to translate. Now, over the decades, the manuscript has been examined by linguists, cryptographers, World War II codebreakers, right? And even modern computational systems. Many proposed solutions appear convincing briefly until they fail to scale. A theory might decode a phrase, but not a whole paragraph. or explain a section but not the whole. You know? Interpretation advances, but then ultimately it collapses again and over again. Now, some have argued that the Voynich Manuscript is an elaborate hoax. It's, you know, that can, in and of itself, can be a tempting explanation. But even that introduces its own problems. A hoax of this scale would require extraordinary effort, linguistic consistency, and long-term maintenance, with no clear audience or reward. But more importantly, hoax theories do not easily explain why the text behaves statistically like real language. The hoax explanation removes mystery, but it replaces it with improbability in all reality. So this is where the gap becomes clear. The evidence is present. The artifact is authentic. It's the real deal. The analysis of it is extensive. And yet, meaning never arrives. The problem isn't lack of data. It's a lack of semantic access. So the question then is, why does a text that appears structured, intentional, and complete resist interpretation, even after every conventional analytical tool has been applied? That question remains unanswered. This isn't proof of a lost language. It's not extraterrestrial. It's not occult. Occult, not occult, occult. And it's not secretly solved. It's a case where interpretation itself reaches a limit. Not dramatically, but quietly. The limit has been reached. The Voynich Manuscript reminds us that understanding is not guaranteed by evidence alone. Data can exist without meaning. Structure can exist without access. And sometimes the barrier isn't ignorance, but translation. Sometimes the hardest thing is not discovering information. It's learning how to read what is already there. And that is the evidence gap.